good evening. Team Modi 2.0 has hit the ground running after the allocation of portfolios to the 57 ministers who were sworn in yesterday at the grand swearing-in ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The Union Cabinet met this evening and delivered on a couple of the major promises made by the BJP in its manifesto for the benefit of all farmers and other people. All farmers, regardless of their size of land holding, will now get 6,000 rupees each year to bolster their income. A new pension scheme has also been announced for traders. We'll have all the details for you on Newsnight tonight. I'm Gautam Roy, but first, as always, our headlines. Team Modi 2.0 fulfills major electoral promises in its first cabinet meeting, expands the ambit of PM Kisan scheme to all farmers, doing away with the 2-hectare land holding restriction. Total number of beneficiaries goes up to 14.5 crores. Special scheme also cleared for control of foot and mouth disease and brucellosis in livestock. Pension scheme for traders also rolled out. The PM tweets, "People first, people always," dubbing cabinet decisions as path-breaking. 5th of July is the date set by the Union Cabinet for the budget presentation. First session of Parliament for the 17th Lok Sabha will begin on the 17th of June. Speaker's election will be held on the 19th of next month. The President will address the joint session of Parliament the next day. Economic survey will be released on the 4th of July. Prime Minister Narendra Modi issues executive order within hours of assuming office for the second time for the benefit of wards of police forces martyred in terror or Naxal attacks. Also hikes the benefits in the Prime Minister's scholarship scheme under the National Defence Fund by 500 rupees for boys and 750 rupees for girls. The day also sees the announcement of portfolio distribution by Rashtrapati Bhavan among the 57 ministers sworn in yesterday. Rajnath Singh shifted to defence, while Amit Shah gets home affairs. Nirmala Sitharaman becomes finance minister, and former Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar is the country's new external affairs minister. The list of portfolios also undergoes significant changes. The government carves out new departments in a bid to fulfill key promises. Gajendra Singh Shekhawat put in charge of newly minted Jal Shakti Ministry. Animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries also separated from agriculture. Giriraj Singh put in charge. The ministers hit the ground running after announcement of portfolios. Most take charge of their responsibilities, hold meetings with officials. They pledge that they will work day and night to take the benefit of the government schemes and programs to the people. The PM also holds bilateral talks with BIMSTEC leaders who had come to the national capital yesterday to attend the swearing-in ceremony. Meet Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena, Mauritian Prime Minister Pravin Jagnwad, Nepalese PM KP Sharma Oli and Bhutanese counterpart Dr. Shering. Leaders congratulate the PM on his re-election and resumption of office. And Pakistan suffered a crushing defeat in their first World Cup League match against the West Indies. Its batsmen could only score 105 runs, batting just till the 22nd over in a 50-over match before getting bowled out. The Windies reached the modest target in just the 14th over, losing 3 wickets. O. Thomas picks up 4 wickets. Now, path-breaking decisions have been taken in the first cabinet meeting of the Modi government on Friday. Welfare of farmers, traders and livestock were at the centre of the decisions taken by the Union Cabinet. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tweeted after the meeting a report card of the first day of his government, highlighting how promises made in BJP's Sankalp Patra were fulfilled in the government's first cabinet meeting itself. Here's more on the key cabinet decisions taken today.
Keeping commitments made in BJP's Sankalp Patra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government hit the ground running, extending PM Kisan Yojana, under which income support of 6,000 rupees was being provided annually to small and marginal farmers, to all farmers. All farmers will now get the benefit of PM Kisan Yojana.
अभी तक जो प्रावधान था, उस प्रावधान के अंतर्गत 12.5 करोड़ किसान इस योजना के अंतर्गत कवर होते थे 2 करोड़ किसान ऐसे थे जो अभी इस योजना से छूट रहे थे। जो 2 हेक्टेयर तक का बंधन आज मंत्रिपरिषद ने समाप्त कर दिया है। अब सभी किसान इस योजना में पात्र होंगे। 2 करोड़ किसान और जुड़ जाएंगे तो यह संख्या 14.5 करोड़ हो जाएगी। अभी तक सरकार का 75,000 करोड़ रुपया इसमें लगता था। अब 12,000 करोड़ रुपया और अतिरिक्त भार आएगा। ऐसे कुल मिला के 87,000 करोड़ रुपया अब इस योजना के अंतर्गत किसानों को दिया जाएगा।
The newly appointed Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister shared more details of the cabinet decision that aims to help double farmers' income by 2022. In another decision, the Union Cabinet approved a path-breaking scheme that will provide pension cover to crores of farmers. The central government would incur expenditure of around 10,774 crore rupees for a period of 3 years.
किसान पेंशन योजना के अंतर्गत लगभग ऐसे 12-13 करोड़ लोग हैं जो इस योजना में कवर होंगे, लेकिन पहले चरण में 5 करोड़ लोगों तक यह योजना पहुंचे और ये हम लोगों ने लक्ष्य रखा है। और इस योजना में 18 से 40 वर्ष तक की आयु के किसान ज्वाइन कर सकेंगे। और इस योजना के अंतर्गत जो लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे उनको 60 वर्ष पूरी करने के पश्चात 3,000 रुपया मासिक पेंशन प्राप्त होगी। यदि किसान की मृत्यु हो जाती है तो उसके जो उत्तराधिकारी उनकी पत्नी होंगी उनको 50% इस योजना का लाभ मिलेगा।
The cabinet also cleared a special scheme for control of foot and mouth disease and brucellosis, diseases which commonly afflict livestock.
आज निर्णय ऐतिहासिक किया है कि पूरा पैसा 13,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा रुपया केंद्र सरकार पूरा का पूरा देगी। 5 साल में ये बीमारियां खत्म करने का सरकार ने आज एक बड़ा कार्यक्रम हाथ में लिया है और इसके लिए जगह जगह पशु मेले लगे। इसकी कल्पना यह है कि 30 करोड़ गाय और भैंस और बैल ये इसमें वैक्सीनेशन होगा। 20 करोड़ शीप एंड गोट इनका वैक्सीनेशन होगा और 1 करोड़ से ज्यादा सुअर उनको भी ये बीमारी होती है तो उसका भी वैक्सीनेशन होगा। और ये वैक्सीनेशन 100% पशुओं का हो, ये किसान के लिए मुफ्त होगा।
A pension scheme for traders also got cabinet's nod. 3 crore retail traders and shopkeepers stand to benefit from this move.
दुकानदार है, छोटा व्यापारी है, कुछ न कुछ सामान बेचने वाला है, तो इनके लिए भी जैसे किसान के लिए पेंशन है, जैसे असंगठित मजदूरों के लिए पेंशन योजना है, वैसे इन वर्गों के लिए भी अलग पेंशन योजना शुरू की है। उसका रूप एक ही है और इसमें 5 करोड़ से ज्यादा छोटे व्यापारी और सामान बेचने वाले छोटे दुकानदार ऐसे शामिल होंगे आने वाले 3 साल में, ये कल्पना है।
In a tweet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi underlined how promises made in BJP's manifesto were fulfilled by his government in its first cabinet meeting on Friday. The government also shared details of the budget session, which is set to begin on 17th June and last 40 days. The election for the Speaker shall take place on 19th June, followed by President's address to joint session of the two houses on 20th June. The economic survey will be presented on 4th July and the Union budget on 5th July. Key decisions taken by the Union Cabinet set the tone of governance in Modi Government 2.0 with focus on continuity and fast delivery. With Shailendra Mishra in New Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Well, apart from the announcement of portfolios coming in from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, the day began on a positive note with the Prime Minister himself issuing a key order. Within hours of resuming office, the PM rolled out a major change in the Prime Minister's scholarship scheme under the National Defence Fund. Apart from hiking the scholarship amount, the ambit of the scheme has been extended to the kin and wards of state police officials who were martyred in terrorist or Naxal attacks. Take a look.
A day after taking oath on Thursday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi assumed office on Friday. He set out to accomplish the task of serving the nation right from the word go. In line with his vision for India's safety, security and the well-being of those who protect the country, the very first decision on assuming office was approval to a major change in the Prime Minister's scholarship scheme under the National Defence Fund. Now the ambit of the scholarship scheme has been extended to the wards of state police officials who are or were martyred during terror or Naxal attacks. The quota of new scholarships has been kept at 500 per annum. The rates of scholarship have also been increased from rupees 2,000 per month to rupees 2,500 per month for boys and from rupees 2,250 per month to rupees 3,000 per month for girls. Under the National Defence Fund, major scheme of Prime Minister's scholarship scheme is being implemented to encourage technical and postgraduate education for widows and wards of the deceased or ex-service personnel of armed forces and paramilitary forces and railway protection force. Under the PMSS, every year new scholarships are given for 5,500 wards of the armed forces controlled by the Ministry of Defence, for 2,000 wards of paramilitary forces controlled by the Ministry of Home Affairs, and for 150 wards of forces controlled by Ministry of Railways. The Prime Minister has often spoken at length about the monumental contribution of our police personnel. Come harsh summer, extreme winter or heavy monsoon, our police personnel are performing their duties with utmost diligence. It may be recalled that it was under the first tenure of Prime Minister Modi that a National Police Memorial was built and dedicated to the nation. Bureau Report, DD India.
And it's time now for our In Focus. Team Modi 2.0 takes charge. And how? Well, Shishir Sinha, senior journalist, is with us here in our studio to talk about it. Shishir, what do you make of these big ticket announcements related to pre-poll promises that have been made after the first cabinet meeting and even the executive order that the Prime Minister issued even earlier in the day that really speaks to the intent of this second term for Prime Minister Modi and his cabinet colleagues?
Gautam, if you can remember the first term of Modi government, on 27th May 2014, the government took a major decision to form SIT to curb black money.
Correct.
And that was also a poll promise completed within 24 hours of formation of the government. Now come to Modi 2.0. When the cabinet meeting took place today, it was said that it will be a routine meeting with just finalizing the date of budgets and all those things. But it was very clear from the day itself, I mean, from yesterday itself, that Modi government will take some important decision on the first day itself. And if you start with the executive order providing some kind of a scholarship and more scholarship for the martyrs, not just for the regular forces but also for the paramilitary forces and the state police personals, that's a really big development and also a big emotional support to the families of those martyred in Naxal attacks or the terrorist attack. Now coming to various cabinet decisions, I believe the PM Kisan is important one, because as of now 86% of 86% of farmers who are small and marginal, they are covered under this scheme. Right. And now that 100% will be covered, so there is no bar on the 2-hectare land ownership which we had when the scheme was announced in the interim budget. The other scheme, which is the pension one for the traders and as well as the small farmers, for the small traders where the income is less than 1.5 crore rupees per annum, this is a very big thing. And the best part is that it is contributory, because what is happening when the scheme is a kind of centrally government sponsored scheme or government is giving 100% thing, there will not be that kind of seriousness. But when you have a contributory, that means you are contributing rupees 100 and government is also contributing rupees 100. So the person who is contributing will also be serious to continue contribution for up to the age of 40 years. He will have to start from 18 and can go up to 40 years.
Right.
And if you take the median age of 29 years, the average contribution will be rupees 100, and monthly pension at the age of 60 will be something around 3,000 rupees. So amount may seems to be a very small one, but just think of those families where the income is very low. Even 3,000 or 4,000 rupees is a big amount.
Certainly. And what sort of an impact can we expect, of these schemes?
See, in India we have the problem of not having a very effective social security schemes. So if you can remember, during the first term, Prime Minister launched 3 schemes, that's a Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti, Pradhan Mantri Durghatna Bima, and where the premium was as low as less than ₹1 per day. So that gives
crop insurance as
yeah,
well,
that's
which was
no, I'm talking about life
But it's not
insurance as
social
well as
security,
the
yes,
accident
but,
insurance.
yes, it was
So,
for farmers.
Yeah, so that was the foundation, and now you are expanding to all other sectors. The traders, you have one community of traders. I mean, more than 5 crore, 6 crore traders are there. When you talk about farmers, of course, there are more than 12.5 crore small farmers, small and marginal farmers. In the first phase, they are going to cover 5 crore farmers, and farmers. I think they are the only producers who do not have right to fix the price of their produce. So they are in a very bad economic situation.
The government in the last term ensured that it is at least 1.5 times the cost of production.
Yeah, that's true. But still, the problem is that the farmer himself cannot decide that at
Correct.
what price he has to sell his produce. So if you are providing some kind of social security, just like what the people working in a formal sector or in informal sector is getting, so it would be, I think, very good thing for farmers as well as the small traders, and I believe this will ensure some kind of social security for these people.
And in terms of how this will have a spin-off for the economy on the whole, do you feel that that is something that one has to keenly watch as well?
Certainly, see, I mean, when people are contributing, who is going to benefit? The insurance company. Of course, the government-owned, insurance corporation, that's the Life Insurance Corporation of India, is going to implement both these scheme for traders as well as for the farmers. What will happen that if Life Insurance Corporation of getting more money from people, they will invest in various fields, be it in infrastructure, be it in stock market, be in mutual fund, in different sectors of economy, and that will boost public investment, that will generate capital. So you don't see just as a social security scheme, also see that how this is going to boost the public investment. That is one thing which is really going to help the economy.
And the cash in the hands of farmers, that
Certainly,
will have its own spin-off?
yes, certainly at the age of 60, the most important thing a farmer or anybody, I mean you and me, both will need some kind of income support. If we have to go for health thing, if we have to go for our own consumption, a regular consumption kind of thing, we need money in our hand. So if money is there.
I'm speaking in the context of PM Kisan.
Yeah, I'm talking about PM Kisan only. I just gave an example of me and you, but I'm talking about PM Kisan. When people will have money, say 6,000 rupees have been provided under
Yes.
PM Kisan. So 6,000 rupees multiplied by 14.5 crore. You just imagine the number. And
I think the number is 87,000 crores per annum.
yeah, you're right. So that 87,000 crore rupees is going to boost rural market. Rural market is one area where both consumer durable as well as other sectors, they are looking very, they have very hope in that market. So when 87,000 crore rupees per annum is spent from the rural market, just imagine what kind of benefit the FMCG companies, the consumer durable companies and all other services companies will get. So I think that is going to help the economy in way consumer will have more money in their hand, and at this moment we need this kind of a stimulus.
And in terms of people who tend to question these measures and saying, the government is increasing its spending, where will it get the money? Do you feel that is in any case a concern at this stage?
See, when Manrega was launched in 2006, at that time also the same question was asked, that from where we will get the money. Between 2006 and 2019, more than 5 lakh crore have been spent under Manrega. So where those 5 lakh crore, from where we get the 5 lakh crore? And during those period, between 2006 and 2019, the fiscal deficit didn't shoot up that thing. They didn't go up like anything. So money will come. And we need to think about how to promote rural market. I mean, if we are not going to think about that, if rural market is, there is a buoyancy in rural market, if there is a boost in rural market, who will get the benefit? The producers. The producer will give in return what? GST or your tax money. So you will have money, so there will be a cycle of, there will be circle of money
Yes.
going from one side and coming back from the other side. So I think there will always be a question. Manrega has seen that there are a number of other schemes where this kind of questions have been raised, but I believe when you spend money, you are also going to get money, some part of your money back.
And this is just the start, Shishir. This is another 5 years of Modi 2.0 that we have to look forward to. What can we really expect? Do you have any indications? You've been speaking to people yourself.
See, one thing is very clear in Modi regime, that there will be nothing called freebies. For anything you will have to pay something, like the schemes which we just mentioned, that pension scheme for farmers as well as for traders, it is a contributory one. So this will be theme of this government, that they will launch some kind of a scheme, they will contribute from their own pocket, but they will also prefer people to also pay for that, so that there is no burden on the government alone. So that is one thing which we expect, that more and more such schemes will be launched. The other thing which we believe that will be there, that APMC Act, that is one thing which is affecting farmers like anything, because they are not in a position to sell their produce in the market where they want to sell. So I believe this government will push for APMC thing. The other decision which was taken in the cabinet today, that foot and mouth disease, that is going to help the capital which is in form of animals. So farmers' income, if we have to double by 2022, we need to also think about the capital, the cattle wealth.
Yes.
So this scheme is going to benefit the cattle wealth. I think more and more.
Well, in any case, there's a new ministry now as well.
And more, because animal husbandry, there is a new ministry under Mr. Giriraj Singh.
Yes.
I hope that some more innovation will be there. So I think these kind of schemes, these kind of innovative schemes will be there, where people will be encouraged to participate on a voluntary basis, but also on the contributory basis.
Certainly. Now, of course, another keenly awaited event that of course was there today was the announcement of portfolios, and that came and it revealed the thought that has got into coming out with a slightly tweaked and a renewed version of how thoughts need to be put into action in terms of the key persons who've also been identified for different roles. Let's take a look at how the key responsibilities in Modi 2.0 have been distributed.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi allocated the portfolios of his team on Friday. The dispersal of duties clearly focuses on allocating portfolios which best suit the needs of the nation, as well as dwell on ensuring maximum output. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also in charge of Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Atomic Energy, Department of Space. He will further oversee all important policy issues and all other portfolios not allocated to any minister. Among the cabinet ministers, Rajnath Singh, who was Home Minister in the previous government, has been allocated the all-important portfolio of defence. BJP President Amit Shah is the country's new Home Minister. Nitin Gadkari will continue to work as Minister of Road Transport and Highways. He will also take charge of Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Senior leader from Karnataka, D.V. Sadananda Gowda, has been entrusted with the responsibility of Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers. Nirmala Sitharaman has been elevated to Minister of Finance. She will also be the Minister of Corporate Affairs. LJP leader Ramvilas Paswan is the Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, while Narendra Singh Tomar will be the Minister of Agriculture and Farmers' Welfare. He will also be the Minister of Rural Development and Minister of Panchayati Raj. After winning the Patna Sahib seat, Ravi Shankar Prasad will be Minister of Law and Justice, Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Minister of Communications. Representative of the key ally SAD, Harsimrat Kaur Badal, will remain Minister of Food Processing Industries. Thawar Chand Gehlot will remain Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment. Perhaps the biggest surprise name, who was elevated to the post of Cabinet Minister, former Foreign Secretary Subramaniam Jaishankar, will be the nation's new Minister of External Affairs. Former Chief Minister of Uttarakhand Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank will be the new Minister of Human Resource Development. Jharkhand leader Arjun Munda will be the Minister of Tribal Affairs. Smriti Zubin Irani will be the new Minister of Women and Child Development. She will retain the portfolio of Ministry of Textiles. Delhi MP Dr. Harshvardhan will once again take charge as Minister of Health and Family Welfare. He will also be Minister of Science and Technology and Minister of Earth Sciences. Prakash Javadekar will retain his position as Minister of Environment, Forests and Climate Change. He will also be the new Minister of Information and Broadcasting. Piyush Goyal will retain his portfolio as Minister of Railways and get an additional Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Same is the case with Dharmendra Pradhan, who will continue as Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas. He will also handle the responsibilities of the Ministry of Steel. Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi will remain the Minister of Minority Affairs. Prahlad Joshi will be the new Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. Besides that, he will also be Minister of Coal and Minister of Mines. Promoted to cabinet rank in this term, Mahendra Nath Pandey will be given Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Shiv Sena MP Arvind Ganpat Sawant will be the Minister of Heavy Industries and Public Enterprise. Giriraj Singh will be Minister of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries. While Gajendra Singh Shekhawat will handle the newly crafted Ministry of Jal Shakti. There are 9 Ministers of State with independent charge in Team Modi. Bareilly MP Santosh Kumar Gangwar is the Minister of State independent charge of the Ministry of Labour and Employment. Haryana MP Rao Indrajit Singh will handle dual responsibility of Ministry of Statistics and Programme Implementation and Ministry of Planning. Sripad Yasso Naik will continue to be in charge of the Ministry of Ayurveda, Yoga and Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha and Homeopathy, Ayush. He will also be Minister of State in the Ministry of Defence. Dr. Jitendra Singh will be in charge of the Ministry of Development of the Northeastern Region, Minister of State in the Prime Minister's Office, Minister of State in the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Minister of State in the Department of Atomic Energy and Minister of State in the Department of Space. Kiran Rijiju will be Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports and Minister of State in the Ministry of Minority Affairs. Prahalad Singh Patel will be the Minister of Culture and also the Minister of Tourism. Rajkumar Singh will continue to be in charge of the Ministry of Power. He will also head the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy and will be the MOS in the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Hardeep Singh Puri will handle key portfolios in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Ministry of Civil Aviation and will be MOS in the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Mansukh L. Mandavia will be in charge of the Ministry of Shipping and will be Minister of State in the Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers.
Now, the second term of Prime Minister Narendra Modi brings fresh opportunities and challenges. The allocation of portfolios to ministers who took oath yesterday at Rashtrapati Bhavan reflects how the PM intends to tackle them. The man who helped him win the unprecedented mandate in the general elections, Amit Shah, has been put in charge of Home Affairs. Nirmala Sitharaman has been transitioned from defence to finance, while Rajnath Singh keeps the national security thinking cap on by taking charge of the defence portfolio. But the most remarkable portfolio allocation after last night's induction is perhaps that of former Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar as the country's new External Affairs Minister.
The Union Council of Ministers under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has gone far beyond reshuffling portfolios. New faces have been given weighty responsibilities. Some of the old faces have added workload as well. One look at the Cabinet Committee on Security has 2 new faces of Home Minister Amit Shah and External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar standing out. The country has also got its first full-time Women Finance Minister in Nirmala Sitharaman, while Rajnath Singh has been put in charge of defence. While he keeps the national security thinking cap on from the previous tenure, new challenges will include modernization of the country's armed forces, indigenization of arms manufacturing and strengthening India's cyber as well as space defence capabilities. Amit Shah has taken over the Home Affairs portfolio from Rajnath Singh. He's essayed the same role in Gujarat when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the state's chief minister. He is known as an able strategist and administrator and is expected to deliver big on India's internal security challenges, be it Pakistan-sponsored terrorism and unrest in Jammu and Kashmir or left-wing extremism. Transitioning from defence to finance, Nirmala Sitharaman will have to hit the ground running. She has to present the full union budget in a matter of weeks after taking over, where she will be expected to chart a course of high economic growth with job creation while sticking to the fiscal discipline path. Prime Minister Modi has always held merit in high esteem, and it is reflected in his appointment of career diplomat S. Jaishankar as External Affairs Minister. He has served as India's ambassador in both the US and China. His experience and skills should stand India in good stead as India remains on a mission to carve out its own space in a multipolar world, getting dragged into a new Cold War over trade and technology. Another reassigned responsibility to a new face is the Ministry of Human Resource Development, which has been given to former Uttarakhand Chief Minister Dr. Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank. The author-turned-politician can be expected to bring new perspective to education in the country. A new education policy could also be on the cards where medical and technical education are better attuned to global demand. After having a hole in the sky by beating Congress President Rahul Gandhi in his bastion of Amethi, Smriti Irani is the new Women and Child Development Minister while retaining the textiles portfolio as well. She can be expected to bring a unique perspective to her departments guided by Prime Minister Modi's New India mission. Prakash Javadekar has been given the dual responsibility of the Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change along with the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He has ably fulfilled the responsibility of taking the government's policies and initiatives to the people in the past as well. For any government, one of the toughest challenges is to get its bills passed during sessions of Parliament. Maintaining smooth functioning of the House while making efforts to take the opposition along is a core responsibility of the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. The Prime Minister has picked Prahlad Joshi for the role this time around. He will face his first test soon in the upcoming budget session. For the first time, the new government under PM's leadership has carved out a new water-related portfolio, dubbing it Jal Shakti. The new ministry had also been promised in the BJP's manifesto. Scarcity of water is a challenge in several parts of the country. The goal to supply water to every home by 2024 has also been set, with Gajendra Singh Shekhawat being put in charge of the efforts, apart from being elevated to cabinet rank from independent charge. One of the declared goals of Prime Minister is to double farmers' income by 2022. With this in mind, a new portfolio of animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries has been carved out of agriculture and farmers' welfare. Begusarai MP Giriraj Singh has been handed this responsibility with cabinet rank, giving a clear indication of the importance of additional income for farmers apart from boosting fishermen. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Now, a flurry of activity unfolded soon after the announcement of the portfolios. Majority of the ministers stepped out to reach their respective ministries to take charge of their responsibilities. Many held meetings with their department's officials to get a head start on the job and even briefed the media about how they intend to fulfill their assigned roles. They all pledged to work untiringly for the people's benefit.
Soon after portfolios were allocated, Team Modi has hit the ground running with many ministers, wasting no time in taking charge of their respective ministries. Nirmala Sitharaman took charge of her new responsibility as the nation's finance minister on Friday. After an impeccable track record as the Minister of Commerce and later Minister of Defence in the earlier government, she has been promoted to handle the extremely important assignment. Her immediate focus would be the general budget, wherein she will be tasked to strike a balance between augmenting growth and upping the government's welfare spending on social sector schemes. Nearly 16 months after he retired as country's top diplomat, former Foreign Secretary S. Jaishankar took over as Minister for External Affairs. A 1977 batch IFS officer, Jaishankar played a key role in resolving the crisis following the incursion in Ladakh's Depsang and the Doklam standoff, handling the tough negotiations with Beijing. Union Minister for Information and Broadcasting, Prakash Javadekar, also took charge on Friday. He highlighted the important role played by media in a democracy, reiterating the commitment of the government towards a free press. He also talked about the importance of freedom of speech and expression, which is an important part of the democratic ethos of the country.
Press freedom is the essence of democracy, and we not only recognize, we cherish it. In the history of free India, only once this freedom of press was curtailed. That was in 1975 during emergency brought by the then Congress government. That was the period, black period for the media, everyday censorship and complete curtailment of press freedom. We fought against it. under the leadership of Jayaprakash Narayan, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Advani ji, we fought.
Continuing with her earlier mission of making the railways safe, secure and swift, Union Minister Piyush Goyal took charge of the Ministry of Railways. He also took charge as Commerce and Industry Minister. On the occasion, he said that he is extremely humbled by stepping into the shoes of a visionary like former Minister Suresh Prabhu, and said that he will try to do his best to take the work of the ministry forward.
मैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी का हृदय से धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने मुझे ये अवसर दिया कि मैं कॉमर्स और इंडस्ट्री मिनिस्ट्री में भी कुछ योगदान दे पाऊं.
Ramesh Pokhriyal Nishank has also taken charge as the new Human Resource Development Minister. He has assured that he will try to achieve the expectations.
नई शिक्षा नीति की आज रिपोर्ट आई है, उसमें विभिन्न राज्यों और लोगों से फिर सुझाव भी लेंगे, राय लेंगे, लेकिन 30 साल के बाद ये काम होगा.
D.V. Sadanand Gowda, the new Minister for Chemicals and Fertilizers, has said that there is need to take a new initiative in this ministry so that the benefits reach the people. Dharmendra Pradhan took charge as the Cabinet Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas. He said that a lot of reforms and initiatives were undertaken in the last 5 years, and said that the team worked relentlessly in the last 5 years. He also assured that in future also, he will take up the responsibility as a challenge and work even harder.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जो विश्वास, जो आस्था मेरे जैसे सामान्य कार्यकर्ता पे स्थापित पिछले 5 साल में किया था और अभी भी किया गया है, मैं उसको मन लगा के पूरा परिश्रम करके काम करूंगा और देश में एक नई आकांक्षा प्रधानमंत्री जी की नेतृत्व के कारण जगी है, उसको पूरा किया जाएगा.
With an eye to meet the promise of doubling farmers' income by 2022, Prime Minister has entrusted the work of animal husbandry, dairying and fisheries to senior leader Giriraj Singh. Expressing gratitude to Prime Minister Modi, Giriraj Singh said that he will work hard on the roadmap shown by the PM.
मेरा सौभाग्य है कि जो भी जिम्मेदारी मिला है, मैं प्रधानमंत्री के रोड मैप के साथ उसको उन ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाने का काम करूंगा.
Many ministers also expressed gratitude for being given an opportunity to serve the nation and assured their best efforts in accomplishing the task. The second consecutive term of the India government is both a challenge and an opportunity for this team, which is a mix of youth and experience. The new team looks all set to start work in right's earnest and make every effort to try and achieve the targets set for them. They have the capability and also the confidence to justify the faith reposed in them. Bureau Report, DD India.
Let's talk about this further because the new look team gives a lot of food for thought. Shishir Sinha in our studio with us. Shishir, what do you make of how this team, the 57 ministers, their portfolios, new ministries as well thrown in, carving out, and it shows a clear thought process where the thrust for the government is going to be as well.
Two things we have to keep in mind. First is the continuity. So the new ministers or the ministers who were on during the earlier regime and holding the same portfolio will not have to start from the scratch. I mean, they will have to start from where they left after the end of their term. The second thing is that it is very clear that it is a council for the millennials. I mean, if you see the average age of this council, it is just 60 years, with the Smriti Irani, I believe she is the youngest minister with 43 years of age, and the oldest minister is Mr. Ramvilas Paswan with 72 years of age. Other thing is that now it is very clear that you have to deliver. I mean, the ministers who have been dropped from the first term, I mean, there were some issues that whether they have delivered or not. Now this is very clear that you will have to give the result, otherwise there are also available, there are people available in the BJP itself. Please remember, there are 303 members elected from the BJP itself. If we talk about the allies also, it takes to 353. So you have a huge pool available within
Dr. Jaishankar shows that lateral
and also and now there are also from the outside. I mean, Mr. Jaishankar is one of the example, and if you take the first term where Mr. Hardeep Puri was inducted, Mr. Alphonse was inducted, all these people were the seasoned bureaucrats, and after serving the government for so many years, the Modi government took benefit of their experience and included in the government. So it has given a very clear indication that you will have to perform, otherwise there is no other way but to way out.
And the biggest appointments that have been talked about, apart from Dr. Jaishankar, is of course Nirmala Sitharaman as finance and Amit Shah as home affairs. Amit Shah proven as BJP president, and before that he was Minister of State for Home in Gujarat as well. So he has that national security, internal security perspective from the state level. And Nirmala Sitharaman has had a wide-ranging experience. She handled commerce earlier, defense too, and now it's finance.
I think we need to especially mention about Nirmala Sitharaman, because she is the
I'm not sure if I should envy her, or anybody should envy her, because she has a real task cut out for her, you know, the budget right at the get-go.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming to that point. But first of all, we need to recognize this fact that she is the first full-fledged minister, not just in finance ministry but also in the defense ministry. You may say that Mrs. Indira Gandhi served in both defense as well as finance, but only she was it was additional charge for her because she was the prime minister at that time. So she is the first full-fledged Nirmala Sitharaman minister in finance thing. And also the another first is that she is the first minister of state in the finance ministry who has been promoted to full-fledged cabinet minister. Now there is a lot of hope and also challenges. The first and foremost challenge is the union budget. The regular budget will be presented on 5th of July, and the kind of situation we are having in economy today, GDP number has came and it is 5-year low, 6.8% for 2018-19, and for the fourth quarter it was 5.8%, another 5-year low. Then you are also facing some kind of industrial slowdown. You are also facing some kind of investment slowdown. The FDI has been slowed down. So all these challenges are for her, and how she comes out with some innovative solution for that, because she also have to think about fiscal deficit. Fiscal deficit 3.4% is something which we'll have to think. Otherwise, there are agencies sitting outside India. They are keeping a close eye on the fiscal health of our economy. We also need to maintain our rating. We also need to maintain our sovereign rating, so that more and more foreign investors will have trust.
If we go back to the cabinet decision today about PM Kisan, do you think that will somehow help in meeting these challenges that you're talking about?
Yeah, PM Kisan, I think
to a certain extent.
Of course, I mean the kind of money which are going to be spent on PM Kisan, that will give more money in the hand of consumer. We are facing some kind of consumption demand, I mean slowdown in consumption demand as well as in the investment demand. So if more money is spent in the market, consumption will pick up. If the consumption picks up, that will also help companies to go for more and more production and also for more and more investment.
What are the other low-hanging fruits, do you think, that could be leveraged to ensure that A, the government has more money to spend, because the government has been the principal spender as far as even the last 5 years are concerned, and B, to give that boost to our own strength, our own industry, so that they get into this mode of investment, of employing people, and economic activity as a whole picks up?
I think the first thing which it will or it can do it is that 1% of corporates are still paying more than 30% of corporate tax. 99% are paying 25% corporate tax. So if we have 25% universal corporate tax, that will really help the companies to invest more and give more money in the economy. This is one thing which I expect that government will work on that. The other thing is that can we have some kind of GST structure, especially on the cement, because cement is only one particular component of real estate sector which attracts 28% GST rate. So if it can be lowered, that will help the real estate sector. And now the real estate sector is getting some kind of traction. There are some activities in the real estate sector. We need to just give or accelerate that activity. Real estate is one sector which has a lot of multiplier effect in terms of job, in terms of benefit for other
Second
sectors.
highest employer.
Certainly, and
as a
it
sector.
also benefits many other industries, be it steel, be it services, and many other things. So I think we need to encourage real estate sector. The third thing is that go for more and more disinvestment, because you also need money for that. Niti Aayog has already submitted a list of about 40 PSUs, and for many of them cabinet has already taken a decision. You just need to implement that. So these are few things which I believe that government will have priority for those things.
And what about the big bang reforms? Especially foreign investors really look at them with a lot of keenness and expectation, and we've seen that some of it has been done. We've seen how insolvency code was brought in. Of course, GST is massive on its own, but there are others on the list too of expectations as such of the industry as well as foreign investors.
There are two issues. One is the labor reforms. We need to bite the bullet now. The government has all the strength to bite the bullet. I mean, 3 or 4 codes have already been prepared. They just need to be tabled in the parliament and get it passed. This is one area where the foreign investors as well as the domestic investor will keep a close eye on that. The other thing which I believe that domestic investors will also look for some kind of investment incentive in the coming budget. And the third thing which I just need to add, that since there are 16 states which have government in form of, BJP government in those states, so there is a problem that some items are in the state list. So when an industry come and wants to set up a plant, they need to take approval from state as well as from the center. So if there is a coordination between center and state, that will really help the industry to set up their plants, to expand their plant. So that particular area, I think government needs to work on that.
And you feel there's scope for giving lending more stability to the rupee as well, because that's also something that the foreign investor looks at very keenly. It doesn't, he or she doesn't want the rupee to be depreciating in the manner that it has in in recent years as compared to the dollar.
See, a stock market, you just see the story in stock market. Of course, today it was not a good day. It came down slightly. Both the indices ended in red. But during last 4-5 days, or even after the result, declaration of result, we have seen that Sensex is touching 40,000 plus and Nifty is touching 12,000 plus. That is giving some strength to rupee. The other thing is that if crude oil stabilizes something around 70, that will help to maintain our current account deficit, and it will also help rupee, because there will be lesser demand for dollar in the market. So that will also help rupee to get some kind of strength.
Okay, let's hope that we see positive things emerging from the deliberations of the Union Cabinet, just like we've seen today. And of course, we're all looking keenly at that budget. Still some time to go. It will happen in July, but even in the interim, a lot can be done to ensure that India is back on the high growth path which we've always aspired to. Thanks a lot for joining us for the time being.
Thank you.
Shishir Sinha. Now, meeting with BIMSTEC leaders who came to New Delhi to attend yesterday's swearing-in ceremony was also packed into the Prime Minister's busy schedule today. He held bilateral meetings with his Mauritian counterpart, presidents of Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, and the Nepalese PM. The emphasis remained on strengthening the wide-ranging ties between the neighboring countries, be it in keeping terrorism at bay or boosting trade and people-to-people contact.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held separate meetings with leaders of BIMSTEC member states on Friday. In bilateral meetings with Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena, Nepal's Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and Bhutan's Prime Minister Dr. Lote Tshering, Prime Minister Modi discussed ways to strengthen bilateral ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held bilateral meetings with the President of Bangladesh Abdul Hamid and Prime Minister of Mauritius Praveen Jagannath. Prime Minister Narendra Modi discussed the threats that terrorism and extremism pose to humanity with the two leaders. They expressed their commitment to boosting bilateral ties and discussed ways to bolster peace and security in South Asia and the Indian Ocean region. Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena told PM Modi about how the island nation is waiting for his visit. In their bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Prime Minister of Mauritius, Praveen Jagannath, stressed on the need to boost the security and development dimensions of their bilateral partnership and in the Indian Ocean region. They also agreed to strengthen the multifaceted bilateral relationship. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a bilateral meeting with Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli, during which they expressed their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties. In their bilateral meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Bhutan's Prime Minister Lotte Tshering agreed to bolster their traditional ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi held bilateral talks with President of Bangladesh Abdul Hamid and shared views on matters of mutual interest. PM held extensive deliberations with the President of the Kyrgyz Republic, Suronbay Jeenbekov, and the current chair of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The talks covered the full spectrum of bilateral ties and ways to deepen economic and social cooperation in the times to come. In an outreach to South Asia, Central Asia and Southeast Asia, leaders of BIMSTEC member states, the President of the Kyrgyz Republic and the Prime Minister of Mauritius were invited for the swearing-in ceremony of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Council of Ministers at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Thursday. With inputs from Sudhir Yadav in Delhi, Newsnight Desk, DT News.
Now let's get you some national updates in our regional roundup.
Admiral Karambir Singh took over as the Chief of Naval Staff. With a career spanning over 37 years, Singh served as the Vice Chief of Naval Staff at the headquarters in New Delhi before moving to Visakhapatnam last year as the Eastern Naval Commander. Post his appointment as the Navy Chief, he said that his endeavour would be toward providing the nation a Navy that is strong, capable and which is ready to meet any security challenge in the maritime domain. The Delhi High Court has granted 4 more months to the Central Bureau of Investigation to complete its probe in the bribery case involving the agency's former Special Director Rakesh Asthana. Asthana was booked on allegations of criminal conspiracy, corruption and criminal misconduct under relevant sections of the Prevention of Corruption Act. He was arrested on 22nd October 2018 and granted bail on 31st October. 2 terrorists and an underground worker were killed in an encounter with security forces in J&K's Shopia district. The security forces launched a cordon and search operation in Dragat Sogan area of South Kashmir following specific information about the presence of terrorists. Arms and ammunition were also recovered from the encounter site. The sacred portals of Hemkund Sahib, one of the most revered Sikh shrines in the Garhwal Himalayas, will reopen for devotees on Saturday morning. Located at a height of over 15,000 feet above the sea level and about 21 kilometers away from Govind Ghat, Hemkund Sahib was built near a lake where the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Gobind Singh, is said to have performed tapasya. The National Green Tribunal has wrapped the governments of Bihar, Jharkhand and West Bengal and slapped a penalty of 25 lakh rupees on them for inaction over continued damage to river Ganga. It noted that in Bihar there is practically no progress as not a single sewage infrastructure project has been completed. Similarly, in West Bengal, only 3 projects out of 22 have been completed, and even for Jharkhand, progress is not adequate.
A quick sports update now, and defending champion Simona Halep made it through to the French Open third round. World number 3 Halep overcame illness to beat Poland's Magda Linette 6-4, 5-7, 6-3 in 2 hours 11 minutes.
Deux manches à 1, 6-4, 5-7, 6-3.
And world number 1 Naomi Osaka survived another early scare to reach the third round. Japan's Osaka overcame a poor start to beat 2-time Grand Slam champion Victoria Azarenka 4-6, 7-5, 6-3. Osaka is chasing her 3rd successive Grand Slam title, having won the 2018 US Open and the Australian Open earlier this year. Serena Williams also breezed into the third round with a routine 6-3, 6-2 win against Japanese Kurumi Nara, wasting no energy in her quest for a record-equaling Grand Slam singles title. The 10th seed, chasing her first major since the 2017 Australian Open, survived the first set fight in her opening match, but there was no hiccup this time. As for the gentlemen, world number 1 Novak Djokovic claimed a routine win over Andre Laksonen to move into the third round at Roland Garros. Djokovic, who won the 2016 competition, secured a 6-1, 6-4, 6-3 victory on court Suzanne Lenglen in Paris. He is aiming for his second Grand Slam title of 2019 after winning the Australian Open in January. Federer has also advanced to the fourth round, and as for cricket, well, less said about it the better, because Pakistan was simply crushed by the West Indies. They could only score 104 in their quota of 50 overs, reaching up to only, I think, the 23rd over. They just couldn't handle the bouncers that the Windies were throwing at them, and the Windies got to the target in just 14 overs. Chris Gale scoring a breezy 50, and just to take you back, in 1992, the same thing happened. The first Pakistan League match with the West Indies. It wasn't round robins at that time, and then Pakistan ultimately went on to win the World Cup. So anything is possible even this time around. On that note, a very good night.